Shabbat Shalom, my fellow Jews and Judettes. Because remember, this is a gender-friendly channel, as really not many % of our viewers are female, but that's okay. I feel like I should stop including that statistic, because one day I'll hit 0%, and that would be very embarrassing, but quite expected. Today we have part 4 of my very successful video series, What Happens to Legendary Lords at the End of the End Times. If you want to know what happened to the other Legendary Lords from the other factions, especially Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, they won't be in this video because they're covered in the previous one, so check out part 1, 2 and 3, links will be everywhere worth looking. With the announcement of the Vampire Coast, along with our old hentai lover Lokhir, we now have enough lords to milk another one of these bad boys for that sweet, sweet tender ad revenue nectar. So buckle up and hold on to your dicks, because this is about to get educational. Let's get into it. Obviously starting off with the Vampire Coast, because you know, they're the cunts that are probably going to be generating clicks on this video right now, we have the absolutely madman Luthor Harkon. Unfortunately for old mate Harkon, he didn't end up collecting all these lizardy trinkets, so his mind remained absolutely fucked during the End Times events. With Nagash coming back and almost instantly taking command of all the undead minus the Tomb Kings, he needed a fleet of sea hardy boys to be his navy. Who else to call other than the completely dependable and sane Harkon? This turned out to be a great call on Nagash's behalf, as Harkon absolutely fucked the Tomb King fleet in the arse. Now, just like his personalities, Harkon had multiple different endings, all resulting in his death. The first one, which was not canon, is that Harkon's fleet gets in a gigantic 3-way naval battle with the Long Drong Slayers and a fuck-off massive Chaos fleet and his own fleet, which ends in everyone dying. However, this was changed so that Harkon was not present at that battle, so everybody died except for him. Good result. He joined up with Vlad and Manfred, who were trying to deal with Nergalite infected Isabella, who has been a massive bitch due to the fact that it can only be explained by having your period during menopause. Manfred bitched it and ran off, so Isabel used her cunt blood powers to kill our poor mentally retarded Harkon. Ironically, he was killed by magic. However, in the upcoming game, he has incredible resistance to it. What a meme. Next on our list of scurvied up gross motherfuckers is Count Noctilus. These pronunciations are tough, guys. Fuck me, I'm not European. Now, the problem with this fucker is there's absolutely zero mention in the End Times, which makes my job kinda difficult. So instead, we'll explain his lore and then make accurate theories and predictions about what his fate would have ended up as in the End Times, other than just sitting on his ship until the Wave of Chaos ate his face off. Our boy Nock has some pretty straightforward lore. He was a Sylvanian vampire, a part of the von Carstein bloodline. However, he discovered a twisted maelstrom full of power that gave him a titanic boner, so he teleported there and ate all the power there, becoming a pirate and decided to become a big fuck-off nuisance. He's hunted day and night through the high seas by a grand alliance of various ships that wish to kill him due to him attacking Sartosa, and killing some people he probably shouldn't have killed. You would think that he could take on this pesky alliance, however their ships, captain and crews are legendary, so when he finally faced them with his dreadfleet, it ended with his fleet getting beaten and everyone dying, except for him, Aranessa Saltspite, and some random Two King bitch, which explains their presence in the Vampire Coast DLC for the Warhammer Total War. That's where his lore canonically ends, so from here on out we're making an educated assumption of his fate. Anywho, Nock is reasonably weakened by the fuckery that happened with the Dreadfleet and lost most of his forces. However, the rise of Nagash rings in his mind, and he is happy to follow it as a means to gain more power. He gathers up his remaining beasts and crew and begins to set sail to Nehekhara, where Nagash is currently battling against Settra and the Tomb Kings. However, as Saltspite also survived the events of Dreadfleet, Nock would not have a smooth sail. In a rush to get to Nagash and lack of caution on the sea since the destruction of the Grand Alliance, his ship is ambushed by the seriously pissed off Saltspite and her surviving human crew. A legendary naval battle would ensue as the living and dead hacked at each other apart, as both ships filled with each other with cannonballs, lead and, curse words. The sea roars as Saltspite spots Nock and jumps at him, beginning an epic duel as both legendary pirates fight each other. Their ship sinking beneath the waves, as Saltspite finally has her revenge, sticking her random fish sawbone leg into Nock and pinning him into the ship as the ocean swallows them both, bringing an end to the tyranny of Lord Noctilus. Now, onto our mutant fish bitch Aranessa Saltspite, who we just mentioned. Now, like old mate Nock, this bitch has fuck all End Times lore, but we're given enough information to make accurate assumptions of what she would do. Saltspite was born in Norska and experienced mutations that were common among the Norscan people, due to them living in the magical equivalent of Chernobyl. Her fish-like mutations ended with her being cast out of her tribe as a child. The trauma of being abandoned by her people and family caused her to have a bit of a sook, so she cut off her mutated fishtail legs and replaced them with fish saw blades. Fair enough. Saltspite then raised herself to become an extremely feared and respected Sartosan sea captain, as any man that challenged her quickly found themselves sucking on her mutated fish legs. A lot of her success can be attributed to the fact she has the favour of Mahan, or Mannan. The fuck is... Weird name. The sea god. Some even say she is his daughter, hence the seas always favour her voyages. Just a quick note, it seems that Manhan and Mathlan, the sea god of humanity and elves respectively, are the same god with different names, making Mathlan one of the few interracial gods. Yay for equality. Anywho, moving into the end times, Saltspite is completely unaffected by Nagash's return due to her not being remotely undead. However, her fleet, since she lost her human crew during the events of the Dreadfleet, where she originally fought old mate Nock, are mostly made up of vampires and zombies. So with her fleet abandoning her to serve Nagash, she is limited to her ship the Swordfish with a few hundred Sartosan pirates under her command. She gets word that the Skaven are invading the southern kingdoms and that the Dogs of War armies are meeting at Sartosa to prevent the refugees flooding the city. As she begins to set sail to Sartosa, she discovers that the manky cunt Lord Noctilus has survived the events of the Dreadfleet and once again sails the seas, her seas. Saltspite swings her ship around to intercept and catches Lord Nock off guard, resulting in the epic battle that I spoke of earlier. This is not the end of Saltspite, however, as she sinks beneath the waves, Sawleg firmly implanted into Nock's rotten, flailing body. She is saved by the ocean god Mahan himself, as she is chosen to become his avatar. Only Saltspite and her ships are brought back from the depths of the ocean, where she heads back to Sartosa, as the Skaven forces are overrunning the Dogs of War. She spots the last of the refugees boarding ships to sail away from the Skaven onslaught, as Aslan the Dragon Lord finally falls to the Skaven horde. To her horror, Saltspite then spots a fast Skaven fleet heading towards the refugee ships. She sails in front of them and channels a massive tidal wave using the powers of Manhan imbued in her to smash the Skaven fleet's arsehole into oblivion. The tidal wave also consumes and crushes Saltspite, bringing an end to our favourite mutated fish bitch, but saving countless of refugees who eventually arrived in Australia and caused an immigration crisis. Good one, Saltspite. On to the final legendary lord, we have this fat slut called... Fuck me, Jesus. Clyostra Diaphin. Actually, it's not too bad. Clyostra should be cholesterol diaphin, that fat cunt. Now, if I thought that Nock and Saltspite were hard to talk to due to their lack of Endtimes lore, then this bitch is fucking impossible, because she was made by CA. But, MajorKill lives for the impossible, so let's fucking do it anyway. This fat fucking hoe was once a Bretonian singer that had a pretty good voice for a fat bitch. So her king shopped her off to Ulthuan to go sing for the Phoenix King, which is a pretty big deal. On their way over, however, a storm blocked their path, so the captain of the ship was like, "Hey, you fat fuck, it's too windy and shit, so we're gonna have to wait a little while." But our chubby little cunt has no time for thunderstorms, so she somehow took control of the ship and went full steam ahead into the storm. Obviously, it got a bit rough on the storm and her fat jiggled violently about, but she was like, "I know, I'll fucking sing to the storm and it will calm down," because that's how weather works. Newsflash, honey, weather doesn't work like that, you obese fuckhead. After singing didn't work, Miss Diabetes panicked, and the boat sank and everyone died, including her. Well, you know, except for her actually, because she became a whale. Nah, she became a fat bitch ghost, because she was so pissed off at dying before she get to sing to the Phoenix King. That's what she says anyway. I reckon she's desperate as fuck to eat some elvish food. Anyway, she wanders the ocean causing tsunamis with each step, and just generally being a fat cunt. However, she is still desperate to sing for the Phoenix King, but like, her definition of sing these days revolves around drowning them, so yeah, she wants to drown Finubar. Unfortunately for Miss Lardass, they don't call Finubar the Seafarer for nothing, so we never really had any issues with her. Now, getting into the end times. It isn't hard to determine what the ghost whale's fate would be. Let me explain it. Finubar getting assassinated / killing himself was one of the first events of the end times. So there goes the overweight cow's chance at him. However, Miss fucking fat fuck isn't too fussed with Phoenix King she drowns, so she patiently waits for the elves to sort out their shit and elect Malekith as the new Phoenix King. Sensing it was now or never, little Miss Chubby sets her sails to Malekith, as, you know, he's by the coast of Ulthuan at this point, and begins to sing her siren song in order to lure him to her. Malekith is like, "What the fuck is that shitty noise?" and goes to investigate. As he nears the water, she springs out and uses her magic to try and pull him into the water, but Malekith doesn't really give a fuck. So he fucking throws an ethereal harpoon into the ghost whale fat cunt bitch, bit of a tongue twister there, and uses his magic to tear her to shreds, bringing an end to the fattest ghost Warhammer has ever seen. Now we have the Vampire Coast lore sorted, we can cover the other lords from various DLCs and 3LCs, starting with the hentai lord, Lokhir Fellheart. When Tyrion became the Avatar of Cain and Malekith became the Phoenix King, all the elves had to pick a side. As by this point Tyrion was more Dark Elf than High Elf and Malekith was more High Elf than Dark Elf, Lokhir, after being a huge asset to Malekith's invasion of Ulthuan, betrayed Malekith and chose to serve Tyrion, hence became the leader of Tyrion's navy after the previous naval commander, Aslan the Sea Lord, did a massive Allahu Akbar and destroyed half of it. Lokhir then landed his remaining forces and aided Tyrion's forces in the greatest battle the elves have ever fought. During the battle, Imric, a badass dragon lord of Caledor, came face to face with Lokhir, and the two begin to battle. However, Lokhir is somewhat impossible as fuck to kill in these kind of duels, as his wounds heal instantly due to his Kraken helmet, and his swords are basically unbreakable. Hence, eventually Lokhir knocks down old mate Imric on his ass, and prepares him to cut him to death, when none other than motherfucking Alethanar shoots Lokhir with a fat fuck-off arrow that launches the cunt off his feet. Lokhir is last seen getting dragged away by his soldiers as he profusely bleeds from his wound, which refuses to heal due to Alet's naughty little arrow concoction. It is unknown if he died of his wound or was swallowed by the sea when Ulthuan sank after the vortex was undone. However, it is highly unlikely Lokhir survived Ulthuan or will be in Age of Sigmar at any point, as there is currently no mention of him anywhere after these events. He picked the wrong side, it seems. Onto arguably the only non-fucked up character on this list, we have Alarielle the Everqueen. At the beginning of the Endtimes, the Wood Elves began in a rough spot, as their forest was suddenly dying, their god Isher is demented, and their Queen Ariel is really sick from the Bretonnian Civil War. Now you'd expect Chaos to have a hand in this, but it's all just Lilith being a massive cunt and trying way too hard to manipulate everyone. Anyways, Alarielle travels to Athel Loren in an attempt to heal the forest as per a deal. This ends weirdly as Alarielle instead eats Ariel and by extension eats Isher, and ascends to become a demigod as a result. The Wood Elves declare her their new queen after Orion is like, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but yeah sure you can lead us. Alarielle then uses some random world route system to travel back to Ulthuan, declare allegiance to Malekith due to her following Asuryan's will. She then declares she will marry him, which is kind of fucking odd, considering he has tried to have her assassinated 3 times, with one of those times including an attempted rape. She fights alongside Malekith's armies against Tyrion, the man she used to love and had a child with. Shitty writing, I guess. I'm not really sure, what the fuck is with that. Killing thousands of elves with her new god powers. She even duels Morathi and does a good job, which is not bad. Eventually Malekith's forces win and the vortex is undone. Alarielle absorbs the law of life and becomes even more powerful. She leads the elves back to Athel Loren, where she finally marries Malekith in a cute little ceremony. Just kidding, it was the cringiest fucking thing that's ever happened, as they still hate each other despite being married. When Tyrion is brought back from the dead due to Teclis being a bit naughty, Alarielle declares she no longer has any love for him due to the whole becoming the god of war fiasco. Ouch. Along the way she also captures and seals Be'lakor in her tiara, which is pretty neat. During the final battle of Middenheim, aka the world's last stand, Alarielle battles Hellebron in what can only be called the biggest catfight ever. However, despite Alarielle being juiced up on god powers, Hellebron is able to gain the upper hand and goes for the killing blow, until Alarielle actually comes up with a pretty good idea. She shoots a healing spell at Hellebron's mind, which heals her of all her batshit crazy levels of insanity. Hellebron stands in shock as her mind comprehends all the fucked up shit she has done in her life, but before she can declare she's now a good guy, Alarielle throws a spear at her and kills her. Not sure if that was the best idea, Alarielle, but we'll roll with it. When the good guys lose, Alarielle goes back to the Oak of Ages with Tyrion and Malekith, and they have a little D&M session and potentially, some sucky happy before, chaos consumes the world. Alarielle comes back in Age of Sigmar in style, becoming a crazy ass tree-hugging hippie. You go girl, never change. Mixing up the races a little, we have the biggest fucking coward meme lord in Warhammer Fantasy, Tretch Craventail. Games Workshop, being the fantastic writers that they are, completely forgot to include any mention of Tretch in the Endtimes. Thanks Games Workshop for making my life easy. The only hint of his fate is that his clan was present during the siege of Karak-az-Karak. Let's just assume his luck ran out and a rogue arrow pierced him in the nutsack, so he sprays his bloody violent jizz around screaming in pain till a rat ogre had enough and skull fucked him to death. Yeah, that's what happened to Tretch, let's go with that one. And finally, our last legendary Lord of the Endtimes for part 4, Hellebron. We've already talked about a bit, but there's a bit more to say. She joins Malekith's army at the beginning of the fuck-off massive Elven Civil War, and leads a squad of elvish heroes to try and steal the Widowmaker off Tyrion. As a side note, this is quite unlike Hellebron, as you'd expect her to instantly join Tyrion due to him being the avatar of Cain, her god. Maybe, due to Morathi joining Tyrion, Hellebron wished to get the sword for herself and become the avatar due to her hatred of Morathi. Anyway, the attempt to steal the Widowmaker goes very poorly and a few of the heroes die, whilst Hellebron gets her ass whooped by Morathi. After Ulthuan sinks and the elves have peace, Malekith bans worship of the now dead Khaine, due to Khainite worshippers just genuinely being fucking psychopaths. Hellebron doesn't take too kindly to this and leads the Khaine-obsessed elves away to join up with Khorne. I guess this bitch just really wants to have a god of war to worship. In the final battles of Mindenheim, Hellebron is able to get the upper hand on Alaria due to her being powered up by Khorne, however, is killed when Alarielle pulls a fast cheeky one on her as we mentioned before. See you later Hellebron, you weird old bitch. Now, you may be wondering why I've not included Alithanar on this list despite him arguably being the biggest fucking badass of the Endtimes. Well, this is a simple explanation. I've already included him in part 3 of these. Videos, links and everything will be everywhere. And that does us, ladies and gentlemen. The fate of all legendary lords has been finished. For now. If you want to play games with me or just fuck around, then join my Discord. It's full of random ass shit and weird people. It actually contains a lot of pictures of titties, so you can get around that one. Like, comment and subscribe for more absolute fuckery. Peace.